What was supposed to be one of the most emotional love stories in rock music has just come to a sudden and painful end. After nearly 3 decades of knowing each other, a surprise backstage proposal, and a child tying them together forever, Kelly Osbourne and Slipknot's Sid Wilson are now going their separate ways, just 7 months after getting engaged. And here's what makes it even more heartbreaking. This breakup didn't happen in a normal moment. It came right after one of the darkest periods of Kelly's life, the loss of her father, Ozzy Osbourne. So what really happened behind the scenes? And why did this relationship collapse when it mattered most? This wasn't some quick celebrity romance that burned out overnight. Kelly Osbourne and Sid Wilson's story goes all the way back nearly 3 decades, long before headlines, before engagement rings, before heartbreak. They first met 27 years ago during the early days of Ozzfest, the legendary music festival created by Ozzy and Sharon Osbourne. At the time, Slipknot was just beginning to shake the metal world, and Sid Wilson, known as DJ Star's Cream, was part of that rising storm. Kelly was still young, growing up in one of the most iconic families in rock history. Their connection back then? Purely friendship. But not the kind that fades. The kind that quietly stays in the background, waiting. Years passed. Lives changed. Relationships came and went. But somehow, they kept crossing paths. And then, something shifted. That long-standing friendship evolved into something deeper. Something real. Fans were actually surprised when their relationship became public, not because it didn't make sense, but because it suddenly did. It felt like a full-circle moment. 2 people from the same chaotic rock world, finally choosing each other after years of timing just not lining up. And when they welcomed their son, it seemed like everything had finally fallen into place. A family. A future. Stability. For the first time, Kelly looked like she had found something solid, something lasting. But as we now know, even the strongest foundations can crack under the weight of real life. Then came the moment that made headlines everywhere. The proposal. And not just any proposal, this one felt almost cinematic. It happened backstage at what was being called Ozzy Osbourne's final hometown performance in Birmingham. A historic night. A farewell. A deeply emotional moment for the entire Osbourne family. And right there, in front of everyone, Sid Wilson got down on one knee. He presented Kelly with a diamond ring, surrounded by family, music, and legacy. And most importantly, Ozzy himself was there to witness it. Think about that for a second. A father watching his daughter get engaged, during what would be one of the final major moments of his career. It wasn't just romantic. It was symbolic. It felt like a passing of the torch. A blessing. A moment frozen in time. Fans saw it as the beginning of a new chapter, not just for Kelly, but for the entire Osbourne legacy. But what nobody realized at the time was just how quickly everything was about to change. Just weeks after that unforgettable night, everything fell apart. Ozzy Osbourne passed away. And for Kelly, this wasn't just losing a father. This was losing her anchor. Her protector. Her best friend. Grief like that doesn't just affect one part of your life, it shakes everything. Your emotions. Your decisions. Your relationships. And Kelly has been open about just how brutal this period has been. She described it as the hardest time of her life. Not only was she dealing with unimaginable loss, she was also facing intense public scrutiny. Online criticism. Comments about her appearance. People questioning her grief. Imagine going through the worst moment of your life and being judged for how you're handling it. At one point, she shared a heartbreaking message, talking about feeling kicked while she was already down, about people abandoning her when she needed support the most. That kind of pressure, it doesn't just stay online. It follows you into your real life, into your home, into your relationships. And slowly, quietly, things between her and Sid began to change. According to sources close to the situation, this breakup didn't come out of nowhere. There were struggles behind the scenes for months. The kind of struggles most people never see. They tried to make it work, especially for their son. And that part matters. Because when a child is involved, walking away isn't easy. It's never a quick decision. It's something you fight against, Until you can't anymore. The reports suggest that despite their history, despite the love, despite the engagement, they reached a point where staying together was doing more harm than good. So they made the hardest choice possible. They chose to separate. Not because there was no love, but because sometimes love alone isn't enough to hold everything together. And right now, they're living apart, trying to figure out what life looks like next. As individuals, and as co-parents. Recently, Kelly was spotted in London, spending time with close friends, trying to find some kind of peace after what has been described as a brutal start to the year. And honestly, that says everything. Because this isn't just about a breakup. This is about loss stacked on top of loss. Grief, pressure, public scrutiny, and now the end of a relationship that was years in the making. It's a lot for anyone to carry. But if there's one thing people know about Kelly Osbourne, it's that she's resilient. She's been through public ups and downs before. And every time, she's found a way to come back stronger. The question now is, what does that comeback look like this time? There's something people don't talk about enough. What it's like to grow up as Ozzy Osbourne's daughter. For most people, grief is private, quiet, personal. But for Kelly, nothing has ever been private. From the moment she appeared on the Osbournes, her life became public property. Every mistake, every struggle, every transformation, watched, judged, and replayed over and over again. And even as an adult, that pressure never really went away. Because when your father is Ozzy Osbourne, you're not just grieving a parent. You're grieving a global icon. Millions of people feel like they lost someone too. And that creates a strange kind of pressure, where your personal pain becomes something the world feels entitled to comment on. That kind of environment can strain any relationship, even a strong one. Because grief doesn't just make you sad, it changes how you react, how you communicate, how you cope. Sometimes you withdraw. Sometimes you lash out. Sometimes you don't even recognize yourself. And for Sid, being in that space, trying to support someone going through all of that while also dealing with his own life, career, and responsibilities. That's not easy. Not at all. It raises a tough question. Was this breakup really about the relationship itself? Or was it about everything surrounding it? Now here's where things get even more interesting. Because while most of the attention has been on Kelly, Sid Wilson has remained relatively quiet. No dramatic statements. No public accusations. No social media outbursts. Just silence. And sometimes, silence says a lot. Sid has always been known as someone who stays out of the spotlight, despite being part of one of the biggest metal bands in the world. He's not the type to air personal issues publicly, which means whatever happened between them, it likely stayed behind closed doors. But think about his position for a second. He wasn't just Kelly's partner, he was also stepping into a deeply emotional family dynamic. A family dealing with loss, with legacy, with constant public attention. And that can be overwhelming, even for someone used to the chaos of touring and performing. Then add parenting into the mix. They share a young son. And suddenly, it's not just about two people anymore. It's about responsibility, stability, and long-term decisions. Sources say they tried to make it work for the sake of their child. Which means this wasn't impulsive. It wasn't sudden in the way it looks from the outside. It was a slow build. Until they reached a point where continuing together just wasn't the right choice anymore. And sometimes, the strongest decision you can make is knowing when to walk away. Here's the thing about relationships like this. They don't just disappear overnight. This isn't a short-term romance. This isn't a fling. This is nearly 30 years of history, friendship, connection, shared experiences. That kind of bond doesn't just vanish. And that's why some people close to the situation aren't calling this a final ending. They're calling it a pause, a necessary step back. Because sometimes, when life hits you this hard, you need space to breathe, to heal, to figure yourself out again. And maybe that's exactly what this is. Not a permanent goodbye, but a moment of separation during the most difficult chapter of Kelly's life. We've seen it before, couples breaking up during intense emotional periods, only to find their way back to each other later on. But we've also seen the opposite, where distance becomes permanent. And the truth is, so this story isn't just about a breakup. It's about timing. It's about grief. It's about how life can completely shift everything you thought was certain. Kelly Osbourne and Sid Wilson had history most couples never get. And yet, even that wasn't enough to hold things together, at least for now. But what do you think? Do relationships stand a chance during moments of deep loss like this? Or is it almost inevitable that something breaks? And more importantly, do you think this is really over? Or just a chapter in a much longer story? Drop your thoughts below, because this one's far from simple. And if you want more real stories like this, raw, emotional, and unfiltered, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Right now, nobody knows which direction this will go. Not even them. And before we come to the end of this video, I just want to take a moment to say a very big thank you to all of you for watching. Your time truly means a lot. In a world where there are thousands of videos you could be watching right now, the fact that you chose to spend a few minutes here with me on Hajararama TV is something I truly appreciate. This channel continues to grow because of viewers like you. Every view, every comment, and every bit of support helps this community become stronger. And that's what makes creating these videos so rewarding. If you enjoyed this video, please take a quick moment to like the video, leave a comment below, and share it with your friends or anyone who might enjoy this content. Your interaction really helps the channel reach more people who love stories, entertainment, and updates just like you do. And of course, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel, Hajararama TV, and turn on the notification bell so you'll always be among the first to know when a new video is uploaded. There are many more exciting videos coming your way very soon, and I would love for you to be part of this journey as the channel continues to grow. I also enjoy hearing your thoughts, so feel free to drop your opinions, ideas, or suggestions in the comment section. Your voice matters here, and your feedback helps make Hajararama TV even better. Once again, thank you so much for watching and for being part of this amazing community. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed, stay entertained, and keep watching Hajararama TV.